Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Milkman Channel. Today I'm doing something I haven't done in a while, which is a video game review. So pretty excited for that. But for the time being, I do want to say something about it here. I did say on my other social medias that I am not streaming anymore. This is true. I've been really busy lately, and between YouTube, Twitch, and a full-time not working remote job, my time was very stretched, very thin, and streaming honestly became more of a chore than anything else at that point. And I'm probably not going to do it for the foreseeable future. I really enjoyed it. Did it for about 3 times a week, every week for a few years, honestly. But I got to a point where I was just ready to move on and ready to call it close on that chapter in my life. But I'm really dedicated to YouTube. I'm having a lot of fun making YouTube videos on everything, mostly food, but the occasional gaming video here and there. So I'm definitely going to keep making gaming content on my YouTube, probably videos like this, but I am not going to stream for the foreseeable future. And if you found your way here from my old streams, really appreciate your support along the way. To everyone who tuned in at any point to watch me for any given amount of time, it means the world to me. But at this point in time, video production is what I'm much more comfortable with versus live streaming. But with that being said, let's get into it. Today we're talking about Atomic Heart. This is an interesting game. So I'm going to a little bit lay of the land. I'm going to talk about the overview of the game, a little bit about the developer, and kind of just general thoughts on the game. Then I'm going to go into some positives, then some negatives, and some closing thoughts. Pretty classic review. So we're talking about Atomic Heart, and just so you know, all footage you're seeing was captured on PC. I played this on PC Game Pass, and before anyone says anything, yes, I know there's button prompts. That's because, like a controller, that's because I like to use controller when I game, even if I'm on PC. I've tried mouse and keyboard. I am horrible with it. So I use controller every chance I have. I don't think I'm talking about anything too spoilery here. I am going to be going into the ending as well as boss fights a little bit. But if you want to be extra cautious, definitely come back and watch this after you played the game. Love to hear your thoughts on it and see, how eye to eye we're seeing, and just have a discussion about Atomic Heart. But with that being said, let's get into it. Atomic Heart was released February 21st, 2023 by developer Mundfish. This is Mundfish's first game, and it shows, but we will get to that later. Quick overview of the game. Story, at least, takes place in an alternate Russia where tech advances are very immense compared to the real world, and robots are everywhere. And in this world, you play as Sergei Nechayev. A lot of Russian names in this, so forgive me if I slaughter anything. A former soldier who suffered from a form of amnesia after horrific injuries, and he doesn't remember a lot of his life before that accident. And everything seems chill in this world of the robots in Russia until someone puts him in some kind of combat protocol. Robots suddenly turn on humanity and try to kill them all. And your job, more or less, is to figure out why that happened, as well as put an end to it. And you are aided along the way by your talking AI glove, Charles, and that's basically it. There is a little more to it than that, but that is definitely the shorthand version of the story. Gameplay, as far as I'm concerned, I was thinking about it for a while, and I broke it down into 3 comparisons. It is like 70% BioShock, 28% Far Cry, and I'd say 2% Doom Eternal, which I'll elaborate on that one a little bit. The BioShock comes from, it's like I said, 70% of BioShock. That comes from a bulk of the gameplay. You got your AI glove Charles can shoot lightning, frost, fire, etc., abilities like that, much like plasmids or tonics in the BioShock world. And also all of your weapons and upgrades you get from vending machines, which you collect resources to spend on in those vending machines. And you can use various resources for various things, such as upgrades, crafting weapons, or even crafting like health and ammo and stuff. Very much a BioShock-esque thing like that, it reminded me of. There's a little bit of Far Cry in here, in the sense it's kind of an open world first-person shooter with some parkour elements, which I'll talk about those later. But definitely gave me some Far Cry vibes to an extent, especially since I played Far Cry 6 not too long ago. And 2%, which it might even be being a little generous, you get kind of Doom Eternal vibes, which comes from a little dash ability that was very much like the Doom Eternal dash. Hordes of enemies I see coming at me. Anyone who's played Doom Eternal knows that the enemies don't stop in that. And I'm not going to call this gameplay, but it still reminded me of Doom Eternal. was the soundtrack. The soundtrack for this game was a mix of like heavy metal and techno, which I could really get behind. I thought that was pretty baller. But that's a pretty good segue into the positives, because talking about the soundtrack, comparing it to Doom Eternal, nothing but a compliment. I loved the soundtrack to this game. You could be fighting a big horde of enemies, or a boss fight, and there could be some heavy metal blasting in the background to really put you in some kind of mood, or like some high energy techno as well as the occasional like techno house remix of like a classic song from like the 60s, which is I think when this game takes place. I don't think they explicitly state that, but it definitely takes place in the past at some point. Shooting feels pretty nice. I really like the shotgun in this game. I pretty much only used 3 guns. Okay, 4. The shotgun, the pistol, the electro pistol, and I can't remember what it was called. It was like an energy machine gun type-esque thing. There's 2 different kinds of There's 3 different kinds actually of weaponry in this game. There's melee, there's quote-unquote kinetic, which is like your shotgun, your bullets, like typical guns, and then there's energy guns, which fire like electric rounds. But I think the shotgun, especially in this game, it really felt like you were wielding a hand cannon, especially when you would shoot people with this thing. Depending on the enemy type, they would go like flying back quite a substantial amount, so it really just made you feel like your shotgun was quite a powerful tool in your hands.
Just wanted to put beta rings on some robots so no one else in Collective could control them.
Indeed they are. At first, the man planned to order his...
Also along the lines of shooting and combat, like I said, there's melee weapons in this game. I'm definitely in the minority with what I'm about to say, but I thought the melee in this game was pretty cool. I thought it felt really good. I know a lot of people say it doesn't really like carry weight, if that makes sense. Like when you're swinging an axe, it doesn't really feel like you're swinging an axe. It doesn't feel as powerful as that. But I really like the melee combat in this game. I thought it was pretty well done. But again, definitely acknowledging I'm in the minority on there. The outside world looks pretty cool. You do start the game in kind of a reasonable chunk of them until you get access to the outside world. You're in like an underground bunker. That looks pretty cool. The underground stuff was super cool looking, but the open world and like the Russian landscape was really beautiful when you weren't looking at a path of destruction from robots. It's like kind of a foresty area with the occasional like small town and like beach vibes. Really gorgeous landscape in this game if you're keeping the violent stuff out of the view of the camera. I think where this game shines the brightest, this is the biggest positive I have, are the boss fights. They were properly good. One of them was kind of cheesy, being you can only damage it with melee weapons a significant amount, and even then, the boss was like overly tough, so that's whatever. And that fight just took way too long. But other than that, really nothing but positives about the boss fights. Really nothing but positives about the boss fights in this game, with the first real boss you come across being honestly my favorite. It's a properly nuts boss fight, and you feel it keeps you on the edge of your seat, and there's just so much going on, but not enough to where you can't process it. And I just really love the boss fights in this game, with that first one especially. It's a little bummer that the best one is the first one, but that doesn't mean the others are bad by any means. Looting is pretty cool in this game, honestly. I am someone who, like, Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn's looting in that game, it's literally I'm stopping every 2 seconds to pick a plant because they're just all over the place. And I hate looting like that. Personally, I'm not even a big fan of looting in general. But in this game, they honestly make looting a breeze. Your glove, you can use it for like a telekinesis power that like not only pulls like cabinets and desks and drawers open and just anywhere you can get loot pulls it open, but it also pulls the stuff out of it, at least anything that you could find useful. So you just literally have to like look at a wall of drawers, kind of slowly walk around it with the glove going, and you're covered there. Like I said, I'm just not a fan of looting in games, but it was honestly really easy. One minor drawback to the looting though, when you're done, like if your glove isn't picking anything up, your dude puts it away for like half a second. You can just pull it right back out. Not a huge deal. But I do think the delay on that is really short. I don't think there should be a delay on it at all, in the sense that if you're holding the button, you should just be able to loot and have your glove be doing it no matter if anything's in front of you to begin with. I just found this kind of annoying because I would like do a wall of drawers and then the desk would be a little bit away and I would just go to hold the button, but my guy would put his hand away. I'd have to sit there and stare at the desk, pull it back out. Again, incredibly minor thing, but I just noticed it, that I was frequently like, oh man, just keep the glove going, dude. Graphics are definitely damn solid in this game. I've played this on 1080p. I'm really not a 4K gamer. I'd much rather have higher frame rates than clarity of graphics. So would do 1080p like 120 over 4K 60 or 1440 60 any day. But with that being said, even on 1080p, this game looked pretty damn good. Honestly, some of the best graphics I've seen in a while in a game. I was pretty impressed with this, especially coming from a smaller first-time studio. And the last of the positives would be the ending. Again, not gonna spoil anything, but I definitely appreciated how ballsy it was. It is an ending that took cojones, and I can respect that. And it kind of left on a cliffhanger, which I will definitely talk to about in my closing arguments about the cliffhanger it leaves you on. But definitely a solid ending, if you ask me. Kind of abrupt, not gonna lie there, but I was satisfied for the most part. Now on to the negatives, which first and foremost, tank controls. I can't stand them. And for anyone here who doesn't know what that means, tank controls are like in a first person or even a third person game where you are someone walking, running. You move slower when you're strafing to the side than you would going frontward and backward, which I'm not gonna lie, I can't stand. Dying Light 2 had it, and that's kind of one of the worst games I've played in a long time. Tank controls in this game, definitely found it quite annoying, but it is what it is. Kind of a minor thing, but definitely something I noticed and was definitely getting tired of. This one I kind of just popped in my head as I was talking about that. During combat, a lot of the rooms you fight in kind of have shit all over the place, and I very frequently found myself just like I'm fighting hordes and hordes of people. There's kind of a lot of enemies in combat situations in this game. So I'm on my toes, I'm dodging, I'm moving around, I'm doing my thing, I'm blasting away. I don't really have time to look around to see what's around me with all the clutter. And I very frequently found myself, I dodged myself into a corner with 5 guys charging me, and then they just beat the shit out of me, and I couldn't move through them. Might be kind of more my fault than anything on that one, but it is something I noticed that happened quite frequently and was annoyed by. So definitely, if you're playing this, definitely try and be as aware of your surroundings as possible. There's definitely like I talked about with the Far Cry point, there is a climbing and parkour mechanic in this game, an element to it. I'm not going to say unnecessary, but it does feel very heavy and clunky and awkward. Speaking of Dying Light 2, the one thing that game did do well was the parkour traversal. And this is about as far away from that as you could get with still including parkour. It is super slow, it's super heavy, it doesn't feel good, it's really awkward. Luckily, there's not too much of that in my experience, in my playthrough, but it was there, and every time I had to do it, I honestly wanted to just turn the game right off because it is so bad. Another set of negatives is the writing and voice acting. I understand, I think there's a rush, like this game, I've thought Mundfish was a Russian studio, but I looked it up and they're apparently in Cyprus, but I know they're heavily related to Russia in some way. So I do know, I think that I talked about how the gist of it earlier, but really there's a little more to it than that, but you kind of really have to pay attention to pick up the story because a lot of it is delivered through your AI glove Charles rather than cutscenes or an actual you actually playing through an important parts of the backstory. A lot of it's laid out just by you walking around talking to your glove and he's telling you everything, which isn't the worst thing, I guess. But there are times where your glove is talking and I'm just going from room to room. I reach a important room where there's some more dialogue. All conversation just stops and the new dialogue picks up. So there could have been important chunks in there that I missed just by playing the game and going where I'm supposed to. There were times where I would literally just sit there and let the glove talk out of fear I was going to miss something. But as the game went on, I'm not going to lie, I just got kind of over standing there waiting for 5 minutes and just kept going and trucking through. So really not the best way of delivering a story in this game. Would have liked to see just somewhere, somehow, make it a little more natural of a delivery. Just seems kind of shoehorned in. The limited inventory system, there's just no need for that in this game. You should be able to carry all the ammo and all the health and stuff you can. All limited inventories have their place, like especially in Bethesda games. I'm not saying you should be the Incredible Hulk in every game, but this game, I don't know, it just felt kind of out of place, and there was no need for it. And much along those lines, this is an open world, quote unquote, game. I say the quotes because, yeah, you don't really have to follow a distinct path. Like, it is not linear. You can't explore the world once you get out of the main underground area. But there's like these laser walls that wall you off from the open world. Not even from the open world, from just parts of the world, kind of all over the place. I frequently found myself running into them when, me being me and impatient, I'm just beelining it over the hills and everything. And more often than not, I'd run into that issue and just have to like run along the laser walls for a while. So it's like open world, but it's honestly quite a restricted open world. I'd have liked to see this game be completely linear, or maybe like to pull in some more Bioshock influence. Do it like those games do, where it's like kind of area after area in a sense, where you can kind of go around whatever area you're in, and then you like hit a train to go somewhere else. A train transportation system and that type of level layout would have been pretty solid for this game, especially the train. That would have fit right in. That wouldn't have been out of place in this world at all. So no need to be open world. Would have liked to see a little more linearity here. The difficulty issues. I started this game out on hard because I'm no bitch, and fucking it was hard. I was getting my shit kicked in left and right and was really struggling for a while. So much so at one point I actually was like, this is impossible, and I turned it down to medium because there are only 3 difficulties in this game: easy, medium, and hard. So I reached a point where I'm like, there's absolutely no fucking way I'm pulling this off. I'm turning the difficulty down. And then after doing that, it almost got like too easy. Like the jump from hard to medium was wildly severe, and I went from dying all the time to maybe once a play session, which I was gaming for an hour to 2 hours every time I hopped on this game. And I mean, I'm someone who does enjoy somewhat of a challenge in games. I stay away from say that 3 times fast. From software games, but I don't mind a challenge here and there. And part of the fun of video games for me is the challenge. But holy shit, this game was too hard, so I put it on medium, and then became almost too easy. So just be aware of that if you're someone who enjoys a challenge with the games. And last but not least, I do want to talk about the many small bugs in this game. Very classic first game from developer stuff here. Like I said, Atomic Heart is Mundfish's first game. So I bought it. I didn't buy it. I played it on PC Game Pass. I did play it, not expecting perfection. I've been gaming long enough to where I know developers' first games are not going to be perfect, and this one was far from. There were many small bugs, nothing too game-breaking. There was one time where I got stuck like artificially falling, where it's like you're like an inch off the ground, but your guy just can't touch the ground, so you're just falling in one spot and you can't move anywhere. I did have that happen 3 times in the same area. And what made it even more frustrating is it was in the same area, but after it happened the first time, I took one way around. I'd like took a different path around that area, and it happened again. So then I had to reload my save again, go back, took a third way around it, and got stuck again. And then I reloaded it one more time, and it was like kind of was like 3.5, to where I took the last option possible to get around this. It was like a little obstacle even. It wasn't even a big space. And I was stuck for a little bit, and I was like, well, I'm done playing this game forever. But after like 15 seconds of me wrenching and sprint and dashing, trying to get out of it, I did get out, and that was really the only instance of that happening. That was really the only thing that was really grinded my gears. Other than that, it's just kind of small stuff. Just a couple examples where the music would just, as much as I love the music, it was definitely supposed to stop at one point, and it was like heavy metal blasting in my ears as I'm trying to talk to this person and can barely hear what they're saying.
There's barely anything left. Look, I did the analysis. I did all the calculations. This neural network echo that allows the dead to talk.
And there was times where I had a melee weapon out, and then I'd switch to my shotgun. I don't even have my finger on my right trigger, and the shotgun would just pop off around. Which in this game, especially for a while in the beginning when I was playing, ammo is not kind of hard to come by. So losing a shotgun shell like that is kind of a big hit. And there were more little bugs than that. Those are just some examples. Like I said, nothing too game-breaking besides the fucking falling. But everything else you can live with. But it does has to be said that this game is far from perfect. But also, like I said, developers, Mundfish's first game, it's not going to be perfect. I understand that. Now, I do closing comments on this game, and kind of the reason why I named this video why I did. Here's what I think Mundfish needs to do, because I was following this game for a while, because anyone who's seen the trailers, this game looked certifiably nutty. It looked like something I haven't seen. I wasn't like that impressed with a video game trailer in years, and it looked crazy. So I was all about this game, and upon playing it, definitely doesn't live up to expectations. I'm not going to beat around the bush there. It definitely didn't live up to expectations, but it mainly because of like the little bugs and the awkward stuff. The trailers, from what I saw, they reflect the game pretty well. I wouldn't really say I was deceived. It was just the things that the trailer can't capture, in a sense, such as the like open world being blocked off, the awkward climbing, all the little bugs, the voice acting. Like a lot of my stuff, it can't really be captured in the trailer, so I don't really feel like I was deceived there. But definitely didn't live up to the hype. I did have fun playing this game. I'm not gonna say I didn't. I did enjoy this game. It was kind of a slog at first, but once I hit a point, I was really like, oh man, I was like, I would be at work and think, oh man, I can't get out. I can't wait to be done and play Atomic Heart tonight. But I think Mundfish, the best thing they can do is take the feedback from the reviewers, from the gamers who've played this game, listen to what they're saying, because from what I can tell, besides the melee thing, it seems to be all on the same page here for every review of the game I've seen. They need to take this feedback, and hopefully enough people buy this game to keep them in business, because I do think there's a lot of promise here. They need to take that feedback and apply it to Atomic Heart 2. If they make a sequel and they take the feedback people have given them and they apply it to that, and they just, my mouth's watering just thinking about that game. It could be certifiably bonkers of a game if they listen to the feedback, they do what people want, and make some adjustments here and there. I think it could be a amazing game with a great story, because the world they built here is amazing. Great story, great combat. I just think the bones are good. The foundation they laid with this game is solid, but now it's time to build the house and just really knock it out of the park with a hopeful Atomic Heart 2. Because, like I said, I did have fun with this game. I did enjoy it enough to a point to where I would definitely try a sequel, especially if it was on PC Game Pass like the first one was. I would be very willing to check it out. Probably would even pay for a sequel, because it was good enough to warrant that. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments about Atomic Heart. Let's talk about it. Whether you've played it, you haven't played it. Let me know what you think about the game. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you want to get more involved with me on my social media, link is in the description. I'm really glad. I'm glad I can keep making gaming content while not streaming. I haven't done one of these. Like I said, I haven't done one of these video game reviews in a while. So definitely getting a little back into it here. But I did enjoy this game. I did enjoy making this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. Wow, speak right, why don't you, Cam? But like I said, that's it. Check out the link in the description if you want to check me out on my socials. Shit on the like and subscribe button for more videos, food and gaming videos. And like I said, let's talk about Atomic Heart in the comments. Really excited to hear some thoughts on this one. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Appreciate your time and listen to me blabber on about this game. Love ya.